Assalamu alaikum students. Welcome back. Let's recall what we have learned before starting a new topic of this chapter, When People Rebel, 1857 and after. We have seen that first of all, reasons behind this popular rebel. Actually, unfair British policy is responsible for the rebel. Means how did different sections of the society affected by it? Like nabobs lost their power, raja, those small rajas, those also lost their authorities. Even Mughal emperor, the contemporary Mughal emperor Bahadur Shah Zafar, he lost his power as well. Right. Afterwards, we have seen that influence is bad effect on countryside, like countryside. That means mainly farmers, peasants, as well as even impact on sepoys as well. In the last session, we have seen that two sources of two different people, right, describing the situation of that time in the mid 19th century. And today I am going to discuss about a mutiny becomes a popular rebellion. How a mutiny became converted into the popular rebellion. So main reasons we have seen that people were totally dissatisfied that time. People means not only about the common people or ordinary people, but people here means different section of the Indian society. So all were that dissatisfied with the British policy in one or another way. So here, once that mutiny started, so it converted into the popular rebellion. So that rebellion broke out in India. So first of all, meaning of mutiny. Like in the last session, I also described about mutiny. I described. So mutiny means when a group of soldier in a group, in a united group, in union, they disobey their officers in the army. We know that in army there are rules and regulations are too hard, and even disobeying authority that sometimes considered as that severe crime. But when soldiers, due to certain reasons, they in a group disobey their officers in the army, that is called mutiny. So mutiny started, and later rebellion broke out. So let's see what happened. Why mutiny? Why soldiers dared to go against their authority, their army officials? So let's see. Those struggles between rulers and ruled are not unusual. Sometimes such struggle became quite widespread as popular resistance so that the power of the state break down. With this statement, I would like to bring one present issue here that nowadays that farmers from all over India, mainly Punjab and Haryana, they are demonstrating, right, on the Punjab and Haryana and Delhi border, Punjab and Rajasthan border, state borders. They gathered and protesting because they are dissatisfied with the law with the made by our government, and even sometimes that powerful resistance in history, many such kind of powerful resistance actually broke down the government too, broke down the government. So a very large number of people begin to believe that they have a common enemy and raise up against the enemy at the same time. As earlier we have seen, like today before starting, I mentioned that different sections of the Indian society, a different group of people affected badly by the British policy, and they believed that they had one enemy, and British were their enemy. For such a situation to develop, people have to organize, communicate, take initiative, and display the confidence to turn the situation around. They want to go against the British, but how could they? So for such situation, to develop people they have to organize, communicate, take some initiatives, and display the confidence to turn situation around. Such a situation developed in the northern parts of India. What happened in northern parts of India in 1857? Let's see. Here in the beginning that you can see that in the bracket mentioned that 1857 and after. So 1857, this is called the rebellion of 1857, or some people, people means historians consider it as a revolution of 1857. Right. So in 1857, this happened. So let's see what happened in 1857. After 100 years of conquest and administration, the English East India Company faced a massive rebellion that started in May 1857 and threatened companies' very presence in India because due to company's policy, British company's policy, created adverse situation for the Indian people. So that all people were dissatisfied and angry. Sepoys mutinied in several places, beginning from Meerut, and a large number of people from different sections of society rose up in rebellion. So mutiny began in different regiment of British Army began from Meerut near Delhi in Uttar Pradesh, present in Uttar Pradesh. It was a military regiment. So some regard it as the biggest armed resistance to colonialism in the 19th century anywhere in the world. So in 19th century, that most part of the world colonized by one or another country like by England, Spain, France, Portugal. So historians consider this rebellion as biggest armed resistant to colonialism in the 19th century anywhere in the world. So let's see how was it begin. On 29 March 1857, a young soldier, Mangal Pandey, a very popular name, was hanged to death, he was executed, hanged to death, attacking his officers in Barakpur. Some days later, some sepoys of regiments at Meerut refused to do army drilling using new cartridges. About cartridge of new rifle, Enfield rifle, described in a brief yesterday. So it was like suspected use of fat of cow and pigs, as pigs are prohibited in for Muslim and cow is holy for Hindu, so they couldn't touch fat of cow or pig with their mouth. 85 sepoys were dismissed from service and sentenced to 10 years jail for disobeying their officers. As I said, that disobeying officer considered as a severe crime. And this happened on 9th May 1857. First, one of the sepoys was Mangal Pandey, and who was executed on 29th March 1857. The response of the other Indian soldiers in Meerut was quite extraordinary, because generally before some tyranny did by British, but Indian people, other people silently that watched that drama only. But this time, response of other soldiers was extraordinary. How was it? Let us see. On 10th May, soldiers marched to the jail in Meerut and released the imprisoned sepoys. The sepoys sentenced for 10 years, right, and kept in Meerut jail. So these other soldiers first of all released them. They attacked and killed British officials No one dared that time to do so. They did. They attacked and killed British soldiers. British officers. They captured guns and ammunition and set fire to buildings and properties of British and declared war against the Firangis. They broke into warehouses, British warehouses, captured guns and ammunitions like bullets, magazines, cartridges, as well as they looted and burned the buildings and properties of British and declared war against Firangis. Who were Firangis? Firangis, foreigners. This term used in India before. Still, some places people use Firangis, foreigners, because that Firangis that later became that not only about the foreigners, but that became that related to their attitude of contempt, that like washy attitude of foreigners. The sepoys of further, the soldiers were determined to bring an end the rule of the country. Like they were pissed off. They wanted to kick out those British from India. They determined to to bring end colonial rule from our country. But who would rule the land is? That means if company, if they wanted to end the rule of British East India Company, what would after it? Means who would rule India instead of British? They had an answer. Can you guess what choice they had? They didn't have present as prime minister or some other people. So the soldiers had an answer to this question. No one else but the Mughal Emperor Bahadur Shah Zafar. The sepoys of Meerut rode all night of 10th May to reach Delhi in early hours of next morning, because Delhi and Meerut not much far. As news of their arrival spread, the regiment stationed in Delhi also rose up rebellion. A regiment, like military regiments in Delhi, also rose up. They also joined them. Again, British officers were killed, arms and ammunition seized, buildings set on fire. Similar what they did in Meerut, similar things they did in Delhi also. So, triumphant soldiers gathered around the wall of Red Fort, a symbol of power. Red Fort, where the Bahadur Shah Zafar was lived, demanding to meet him. They didn't want to kill him, but they requested to meet Bahadur Shah Zafar, the emperor. The emperor was not quite willing to challenge British power. Mughal Empire was already collapsed, and Bahadur Shah Zafar was old at that time, an old man. He didn't have much power, and he didn't want to join this. He was not willing to accept the challenge, or he was not willing to challenge the British powers, because he was quite aware about it. But soldier resisted, requested him. They forced, even some of them forced it, not in negative way, but forced in positive way. They forced their way into palace and proclaimed Bahadur Shah Zafar as their leader. They believe that you are the leader only, because Bahadur Shah Zafar means it was symbol of Mughal power, that called Mughal Emperor, and history that time was witness of mighty powers of Mughal Emperor in early years. So still, even Bahadur Shah Zafar had not much power, but still The name was considered as power. Name. So the aging emperor had to accept the demand. He wrote letters to all chief and rulers of the country to come forward and organize a confederacy of British states to fight the British. As being a leader, he sent letters to different rulers and chiefs all over India. So this single step taken by Bahadur Shah Zafar had great implication. Right? Why so? Further we'll discuss in next session. I hope you are understanding about 1857 rebellion. If you have any doubt, any query, you can send it. You can write in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching video. See you soon.